Spring today, winter tomorrow. We already have a winter weather advisory posted for Sioux Falls and much of southeastern Keloland. Here's the way it'll develop. Overnight tonight, very strong north winds will kick in. Sioux Falls will have some rain overnight and probably some freezing. It'll change over to snow tomorrow morning. Our overnight low, 26. Aberdeen, windy 18. Pierre, 24. Rapid City, 21. Much lighter amounts of precipitation for Aberdeen, Pierre, and Rapid City. So during the day tomorrow, Sioux Falls will be windy, that change over to snow. Couple inches in Sioux Falls, more south and east of the city. High temp only 32. Not even freezing tomorrow. 26 Aberdeen, Pierre 32, Rapid City windy at 35 degrees. Keloland News starts now.
Live from Keloland Media Group, Keloland News first at 4.
We look back at the devastating flooding that hit South Dakota 4 years ago as we wait to see if all of our snow could now lead to more floods.
Plus, Minnesota is getting closer to providing free school meals to all students. We look at how the program will work.
And later in just a few days, downtown Sioux Falls will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day, how businesses are preparing for all the partygoers. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. Today, we're remembering the disastrous flooding that swept through southeastern South Dakota 4 years ago this week.
And one of the areas hit hardest by the March of 2019 flooding was the Rose and Lotta neighborhood. Today, the floodwaters are gone, but people are recalling how it felt to see their homes underwater.
So we got rescued. All our vehicles were stuck here, so we just got on the boat.
Coming up on Keloland News at 5, Dan Centella will show us some of the dramatic scenes from the March 2019 flooding and the obstacles one person is still dealing with today.
Well, we probably won't have to deal with something like that, but we do have other stuff in our forecast that's not making me happy.
Oh, yeah. Rain and snow on the way, Megan?
Unfortunately, yes, Kelly, there's more rain and snow on the way. But good news first, Sioux Falls hit the warmest it's been since November. We hit 46, maybe even 47 at the airport this afternoon. That south wind is starting to pick up, though. In Aberdeen, a little bit more blue sky at 36 this afternoon. Northeast winds at 8 miles an hour. As we head west, we warm up. 50 right now in Pierre. Northeast winds at 6 miles an hour. And in Rapid City, 65 and blue skies. All of that will change as we head into the overnight hours. There is a big temperature swing on our map right now. 71 in Valentine, only 31 up in Faith. And as we change this wind around to the north, we all will drop our temperatures. We have a winter weather advisory listed in those blue areas where we could see a couple inches of snow plus very strong winds as we head into tonight and mostly for tomorrow. For tomorrow, we could see around 2 to 5 inches of snow in Sioux Falls, those heavier amounts south and east of the city. But as we head to the north and west, just lighter amounts, maybe around an inch for Rapid City, Pierre, and Aberdeen. But for tonight, 26 are low in Sioux Falls, 18 in Aberdeen, 24 in Pierre, and 21 in Rapid City. Everybody is in on a very strong north wind, and that wind does stick around through tomorrow as well. 32 Sioux Falls, 26 in Aberdeen, 32 in Pierre, and 35 for Rapid City. But we do have a mostly quiet weekend ahead. We'll have those details in just a little bit.
Thanks, Megan. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is expected to sign a bill into law to make school meals free for all students. In order to qualify, all schools would need to enroll in the federal free and reduced price lunch program. The state would pick up the tab to cover everyone else who doesn't meet those requirements, which is expected to cost $388 million in the next 2 years. This way, all kids can get a breakfast and lunch. Supporters say it ensures no kid falls through the cracks.
Besides the healthy meals and giving money back to families, feeding kids at school is the right thing to do. Being hungry makes learning almost impossible. There is no worksheet or assignment, test, or project that will matter to a student who hasn't had anything to eat.
The bill already passed the House, but the Senate needs to send it back because of some minor changes. Governor Walz is expected to sign it. It could be in place in time for summer school this July.
Dozens of Minnesota students and advocates marched to the state capitol this week, demanding the legislature take steps to protect their health. They want lawmakers to ban all flavored tobacco products that they say are targeting teenagers and kids. Legislation at the Capitol would prohibit the sale of flavored cigars, e-cigarettes, and menthol cigarettes.
There are so many flavored tobacco products that I've seen used in high schools. One of them being flavors such as Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You know, who can resist that? You know, I think it should be prohibited to increase the safety of our youth.
27 Minnesota cities have taken steps to ban or restrict the purchase of these products. This would prohibit them statewide.
10 more people who had COVID-19 have died in South Dakota, according to this week's update from the state health department. Since the pandemic started 3 years ago, 3,200 South Dakotans have died. The health department confirmed 752 new cases over the last week. Right now, there are 564 people infected with the virus, which is up compared to last week. Currently, there are 44 coronavirus patients in South Dakota hospitals.
The EPA is proposing a new rule to drastically limit the amount of toxic chemicals known as PFAS in drinking water. Environmental groups and lawmakers on both sides are praising the move. KELOLAND News Washington, D.C. correspondent Raquel Martin has the story.
The EPA is ready to crack down on toxic PFAS chemicals in the drinking water of millions of Americans.
Significant public health win.
Melanie Benish with the Environmental Working Group says the science is clear.
Exposure to PFAS chemicals are linked to serious health harms, including some kinds of cancer, reproductive and developmental harms like lower birth weights and lower sperm count.
The EPA's proposed rule would drastically reduce the acceptable level of 6 well-known PFAS compounds in drinking water. Bruno Piggott with the EPA's Water Division says once finalized, local water utility companies will be required to test to keep up with new standards.
And notify the public if levels of these PFAS exceed the proposed regulatory standard.
And he says the Biden administration set aside $9 billion in the recent infrastructure law to help utility companies adapt.
We are walking along with communities to make sure they have funding available to make the improvements in their systems.
For years, PFAS has seeped into waterways from factories that use the chemical. PFAS has been found in everything from nonstick frying pans to cosmetics. That's why Benish says the EPA must also address the root of the problem.
The responsibility should really be with the polluter.
The EPA agrees.
There's a great deal of urgency for getting this done.
Piggott says more PFAS regulations are on the way. In Washington, Raquel Martin.